Hey, listeners, are you tired of not being able to tell any of us apart because all you know is our voices? Would you like to see us in person so that you cannot tell us apart even when you see our faces?
Would you like to hear about the Adventures in Odyssey 1000th episode grand celebration without actually having to attend it?
Do you like Colorado?
If any of these things apply to you, you need to get your ass out to the Worst of All Possible Worlds live in Colorado Springs on August 4th, 2024 at 7 o'clock p.m. That is a Sunday night.
Doors are at 6:30. You can come there. We'll talk at you and things.
Where are they going? Where is this?
Oh, well, I'm so glad you asked. I thought you never would. They will want to go to La Burla B, which is located at 110 North Nevada Avenue in Colorado Springs.
La Burla B? That sounds like a sexy place, is it?
Oh, it sure is. It's a cabaret club. Now, will we be getting nude?
Probably not. So come on down, check us out. That's right, it's right there at the beginning of August. We are going to see the Focus on the Family headquarters like we promised so long ago, and we're going to tell all of you all about it. And if you're local, you'll probably already know all the good stuff, and you'll be able to correct us on things.
That's right. We'll be documenting it on site in audio and maybe also video format. We're going to bring those recordings along with us. We'll show you some of that shit. We'll talk about what we saw. And we're going to be including as part of it some sort of a charity auction as well for people who are connected to the queer community in Colorado Springs, because that is something that is really, really important to us as well. We need to fight the horror of the project in some meaningful way. To get your tickets as soon as possible, head right down to that link in the show notes, and we look forward to seeing you there.
What?
Last time on the Worst of All Possible Worlds, Josh was working on a podcast opening that would reshape the entire industry. I need to write this opening before our guest arrives for the show. With Josh typing away furiously at his keyboard, Brian had a new idea.
Josh, wait! I know how to open this podcast once and for all.
But AJ wasn't sure.
Brian, there isn't time! Alex is going to arrive in 3 minutes!
As Brian started to talk, Alex was coming up the stairs.
I can't believe I had to watch 11 episodes of Dragon Ball Z again for these assholes.
But Brian was cooking, and nobody was going to stop him.
Okay, so what if Frieza forced Goku to eat a bunch of Spanish food? Maybe Goku could be like, oh, but I couldn't possibly eat another flan. And then Frieza would say, this isn't even my final flan.
It was a joke so good that Josh decided to rewrite the whole opening from the very beginning.
It's true.
Will Josh finish his opening on time? Will Brian's joke be as funny for the listeners as it was for him?
Absolutely not.
Will Alex survive recording with Josh, Brian, and AJ for 2.5 hours? Find out today on the Worst of All Possible Worlds.
So many possible worlds, but we got this one. So many possible worlds, but we got this one.
Welcome to the Worst of All Possible Worlds, the first and only podcast to open strong and then cool the fuck down, because that voice was a lot for me to do.
Cooler the fuck down.
Yes?
Dragon Ball Z episode.
Dragon Ball Z episode, we're here.
The one we will ever do.
Hey, who are you though?
Yeah, Alex, welcome to the show.
Josh, who are you?
Who am I? I'm Josh. What do you
I'm
mean?
Alex.
Yeah.
No, we have a thing.
Oh, no.
Josh, come on.
I'm Josh.
That is not what you
That's
are.
not. Have you forgotten the opening to our show?
I have no... Oh, I see what you're saying. We're doing great today.
We're doing great.
I'm the worst of all possible Joshes.
I'm the worst of all possible AJs.
And I'm the worst of all possible Brian. Suddenly, AJ cares about names. How about that? He cares about getting names correct this time.
All right, look, it's.
I'm just gonna do this voice for the rest of the podcast.
that'll
spite you.
That'll be great. It is a little warm out. It's cool in here, but I think we're all still kind of feeling the heat. But
Yeah,
thankfully,
happy Pride.
We have happy Pride. We have a fantastic guest joining us today.
Mm-hmm.
You might know him as one half of Quorators, the premier Quora podcast.
As a podcast that is very difficult to name, I think you have us beat as a more difficult to pronounce podcast.
Thank you. No one has ever liked it.
But this is Alex Ptak. Alex, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. There's a spirit bomb of tension in this room. We're having fun.
We sure are. Like in the past, Alex, you co-hosted Ballin' Out Super, which is a Dragon Ball recap podcast.
That's right.
And you come with a great deal of subject matter expertise in the matter of Goku, Dragon Ball, things like that. Tell us a little bit about sort of your history with Dragon Ball and anything else that you'd like to talk about with regards to, I don't know, your journey in podcasting? That was a weird question.
I'm 33 years old. I've seen so many cartoons.
Hell yeah.
All I've done this entire time is watch cartoons. I'm the most qualified one to talk about them, not based on knowing things, but just on having been exposed to the most of them.
Sure.
We started a Dragon Ball Super podcast when Dragon Ball Super started airing on Adult Swim in 2017. I don't know like what their corporate structure looks like, and I'd love to get to the bottom of that. But first of all, they got to bring back Tom. Can I say that? Where is Tom?
Where is Tom?
Steve Bloom's very busy these days.
He can't find the time to be Tom. Review Final Fantasy X again.
I don't know what Steve Bloom in quotation marks is. We're talking about Tom, the very real guy who works at Cartoon Network's space office.
That's right.
Toonami.
Yes.
Have you ever seen him and Steve in the same room?
I haven't.
Wait, do you remember when the first Tom died?
Yeah, they killed him
They
off.
killed him.
Yes!
I never got over that. I don't accept the second Tom. I'm a first Tom guy all the
Okay.
way.
And they had around 12, so that's a whole history of tragedy.
There's 12
there.
Toms?
There's so many.
I
That's
thought
a
it was
lot.
just 2 Toms. I
I
thought it
like,
was just
Kleenex.
I
they're
thought it
going
was
through
just the
Toms over
potbelly
there.
Tom and then the like muscular Tom that gave me feelings that I needed to hide from the rest of my family for a while.
There is a variety of CGI-based Toms for every mood you could have.
They're not CGI, they're real.
Well, some of them were CGI. The ones that replaced the real one.
Oh, right.
All
There are others
subsequent
you haven't
Toms.
seen.
Yeah.
It goes all the way to the Tom. I've spent hours just talking about Tom.
Yeah.
In a segment of my show no one liked. But anyway, we started watching Dragon Ball Super, and the premise was we were going to have comedians on every week, and then if they hadn't seen Dragon Ball, we'd make them watch it, and then they'd go, no, and then we'd say, we got you. And so we did that for two years, and then Dragon Ball Super ended, which structurally was bad for us.
Sure. Yeah.
And then we just became an anime general podcast. We watched pilots for a while, and then we said, we got to go back to Dragon Ball. People miss Dragon Ball. We watched all of Dragon Ball Z Kai, which, if you are unfamiliar with the Dragon Ball Z situation, it's Dragon Ball Z, but with half of the bloat taken out, but still enough where you feel like it's the same show.
Sure.
Yeah, they removed 100 episodes, which was like a third of the original length of Dragon Ball Z. And this wasn't like Full Metal Alchemist where they reanimated the whole thing, right? It was just like remastered and re-edited.
From Alchemist to Brotherhood.
Right, yeah, because Full Metal Alchemist, they just made a new show.
Yeah.
Based on the original story.
There was
but that did not
nothing
happen with
new.
Dragon Ball Z.
No. I'm pretty sure they just re-edited it, but it was like dramatically re-edited. The stuff I made you guys watch, I had not seen in the last few years when I was doing that. So.
Yeah, well,
Tone poem you made us watch.
well, to that point, right? We when I got in touch with you, well, we had a very nice coffee. We talked about podcasting, and then I was like, "Hey, do you want to come on the show to
The
talk
great
about
game,
Dragon Ball Z?" And you recommended that we watch this arc of episodes. The arc of episodes we're covering today, which is what, the Frieza Saga, right? The first big Frieza Saga.
It's like the last 10 episodes.
This is the conclusion of the Frieza Saga, but not also not entirely because we didn't watch the last 2 episodes
so
of it. Yeah.
Brian and AJ have seen Dragon Ball Z before.
Yeah, a little off and on when I was a kid. Yeah.
I actually I started Dragon Ball Z. This is Brian. I watched it on Toonami with the first Tom, who they slaughtered like a dog, and they blamed you for it because they had the little tie-in flash game that you were supposed to play every day, and they're like, you didn't help Tom enough.
Really?
Now he's dead.
You should have done better.
And
Should've
the
done better.
second Tom has muscles, Brian, and it's gonna do things to you. Sinful things.
Was it the lack of a head? Like, what was it about? Was it just that he had muscles? Like, what
They
did
both
it
have
for you?
heads. What?
They all have
They all
heads.
have heads.
Yeah, but you can't see
Everyone
what they
calm
are. They're just
down.
like, they're helmets.
Do you think that when someone wears a helmet, their head goes away?
Well, we never saw his head, so we don't know. There could be
I
nothing
saw
under
his
there,
head,
like a
AJ.
ghost
I
situation.
saw his head. The helmet
A
is his head
Scooby-Doo.
because he's a robot.
All right, look. We need to relax because
So-
if we get here too soon, we're not going to have room for when Goku impresses us with his strength.
And also his, like, I want to say trapezoidal chest.
Yes.
Right at the point where I started watching it like religiously was when Vegeta turned good-ish. It's like he took that big, puffy, pink, spiky guy and was like, I'm going to kill you now.
Yeah.
And then he does, and I'm like, fuck, a bad guy can become a good guy? This shit is crazy.
People can change.
It's never happened on Voltron.
And they don't have to stop being grumpy.
Did you grow up with it as well, Alex, or did you come to Goku later in life?
Oh no, I watched all of it. So the thing about these cartoons is they would air them at 6 a.m.
Right.
Yes.
Correct, yeah.
And so you would be up before your parents because there's no reason for them to be up that early on Saturday. And you could do whatever you want on the TV. And they would play one 20-minute episode of Dragon Ball Z for you. And you'd be like, what the fuck is going on? And then you'd have to wait a full another week for them to do another one.
At least I was watching it like each weekday.
Toonami was a market improvement over this system. Like the Pokemon
absolutely.
style release system was not tenable for the pace of Dragon Ball
What a
Z.
nightmare, because Pokemon would release 2 brand new episodes every Saturday morning.
Ooh, I think Digimon did that too, right?
Yeah, for a
Okay.
while, but especially when they start like really getting ratings in. But that was what I would do in the morning. Was I would crawl up on top of our fridge because I was too short to like reach the cereal, so I would have to like climb up on the counters and onto the fridge to get my cereal down.
Boring
and then
cat.
I would basically.
Were you watching the TV from up there?
No, I would then come back down and I would pour the waffle crisp, and then I would watch Pokemon at 6 a.m. every single morning.
Yeah.
But that's why I didn't watch DBZ. But I had a whole bunch of friends in the playground who were like super, super into it. It was that and Gundam. They were basically like watching them in tandem. And I was the Pokemon Yu-Gi-Oh kid. I mean, it's not mutually exclusive, but that's just sort of how things got out. Because I would watch Dragon Ball Z and be like, I'd have your same experience being like, what the fuck is going on? Not like everything and nothing seems to be happening in the same moment. My 6-year-old brain can't handle this.
Yeah, so AJ, you were watching the anime that was on like WB Network.
Yeah.
Alex, you were watching what, Fox Kids? What
I
was
think
that
it was
showing
also
up on?
WB. I think it was like the same thing. I'm
Okay,
pretty
and
sure
I didn't have WB Network. I watched everything on Cartoon Network or Fox Kids.
Yeah, I think DBZ was mostly on Cartoon Network. If I can, if my
Right, it
research-
eventually moved there. The thing that we're not going to get too much into the history of this, but like there is actually a Gerbert connection.
Oh boy.
With Dragon Ball Z, or even a Frank Peretti connection. That connection between these two things is Haim Saban.
Okay.
Our good friend Haim Saban, who would later purchase CBN from Pat Robertson, turn it into Fox Family jointly with Rupert Murdoch's News Corp. He was also behind the effort to bring certain anime, including Dragon Ball Z, to the United States.
Right.
I got some stuff about Toriyama.
Yeah,
if
go
you
for
want
it.
to.
That's right, folks. It's Toriyama Tuesday.
Hey, all right.
And of course, it's a Wednesday because Toriyama famously did not respect calendars. He always lived one day behind everyone else, which is how he always got ahead of the work. Don't fact check me, Josh. Don't bring your fascism here.
It was. I saw Josh's fingers like literally go towards the board and immediately leap away as if it were covered in scorpions.
I am making this up. This is a lie.
You just see the Google search now. Toriyama Tuesday, but it's Wednesday.
True or false? And then a Google AI thing says they were often known as Toriyama Tuesdays because of his propensity to work behind. You're exactly right.
Also, eat some bees. They're good for you.
Fact checked by true patriots.
The man has created so many iconic figures over his time. Goku himself, you could see pretty much all around the world. And actually, if you look at pictures of Akira Toriyama, you're like, oh, that's Goku's face.
Yeah,
like
there's always the joke that you could go to like a chicken joint in like Nairobi, and there would be a mural of Goku on the wall.
Goku chicken.
Yeah,
and you know, Goku and Dragon Ball Z itself was the thing that sort of like launched him to fame. But he had had some success at least in Japan before this point. You know, he didn't go to college. He worked in an ad agency for about 3 years, where he drew like I'm imagining the greatest like ad designs you've ever seen in your life. But then quit because he couldn't do the 9-to-5 job, and he sort of fell into this thing.
So he fell into a much harder job with way more hours.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, there's like a recurring trend with a lot of manga artists where they all have this thing in all of their biographies. It's like, yeah, he really didn't like following the dress code. Like, that's just something that everyone feels the need to like really point up, is that this guy was a slob. But it's just like he lived by the beat of his own drum, and he made a manga called Dr. Slump, which was his first one that was adapted into an anime in Japan. He wanted to end it because he was just like, I want to do this for like 6 months and then never do it again. Yeah. But they're like, okay, you can do that, but you have to give us an entirely other original IP out of it. And out of that came Dragon Ball.
Okay.
Which is vaguely based on the Chinese novel Journey to the West.
At
least
not even vaguely. It's like pretty heavily inspired. It's like you got a main character, he's a monkey.
Yeah.
And he's going around, going on adventures.
It really only gets off the rail once they do the Dragon Ball Z stuff. Because at the beginning of that, it's like pretty much like this Chinese fable for a long time.
Yeah. Dragon Ball Z is where it starts to become like, by the way, you're from space.
Yeah, you're from space. And also, this is the most violent show you've ever seen.
Yeah. It's like how Superman used to be a guy who could just jump really high. And then it's like, by the way,
he's from space.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, one of the first submissions that he ever did for a manga contest was a parody of Star Wars. It was just basically Star Wars, and he's had a lot of his influences were actually Western. So, like the first animated movie that he always talks about seeing was 101 Dalmatians, and how he really wanted to like make something that looked as beautiful as that.
Can I just say, too many Dalmatians?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah,
honestly, Dalmatians are pretty like vicious.
I was gonna say
they're poorly behaved animals.
I would argue that one Dalmatian is too many Dalmatians.
I wouldn't make them into a coat, but like, I wouldn't want one like near me.
If you're a firefighter listening to this, we don't mean yours.
Right.
Yours is a good
dog
one.
is
You have a good boy. You have a good boy. You see me for
He's a
fires.
hero. But
Give that dog a medal.
The picture 3 digits of the thing.
Dragon Ball is a hit in Japan, but it really doesn't take off in the States until Dragon Ball Z starts airing, as we talked about.
Yeah, there's a little bit of like every now and then, like it shows in like Canada for a little bit. There's a Japanese language network in Hawaii that airs Japanese shows, including some anime, but Dragon Ball Z is what they bring over because it's more hardcore. There's less nudity in it, so they can edit around that and just go with like, and they throw, Haim Saban gets his like in-house music people to write like crunching guitar riffs to go into it so that it's cooler and it's not all gay or whatever.
Z.
Yeah.
It's much more Z than the other show. The other show had a little bit of like Playboy style cheeky gentleman's humor.
Yes. It was very baudy.
What if Goku went to the club and just saw the girls for a while? He had to help all the lonely, cold girls. And then Frankenstein's in the original show.
Just actual Frankenstein?
His name is Android 8, but he just is the drawing of Frankenstein.
Hell yes.
Absolutely.
I love it when Dragon Ball is just like, okay, and this guy who looks like Satan is named Mr. Satan.
I don't remember specifically in what context, but Dracula is also there.
Yes.
But it is the thing. Like, you look at Toriyama as an illustrator, right? And immediately you're like, my God, I can remember exactly what Mr. Satan looks like.
Yeah.
Because every single one of his creations is so distinct. And you're not confused like you would be watching any other anime because everyone is so different from each other. Even the Namekians, who are all of like the same sort of green pew, they all just have completely different faces and completely different demeanors. Like, it is such a feat of cartooning that he's able to accomplish in this show.
He's always really good because so many characters we see as children and adults, he's always really good at, like, you can immediately tell that it's Goku either way, or that it's Piccolo either way.
Right.
or that it's Trunks either way.
And the fact that you can't confuse Goku and Gohan despite seeing them at the exact same age over the course of both of these shows.
They're like the opposite of us, AJ.
Yeah. You and me, buddy. We need Toriyama to draw our voices.
You could, however, confuse Goku and Goten, who is just the same drawing.
And then, because
just as a counterpoint, because in the show they're like, by the way, we're aware. We know he's Goku. It's a joke. I can't joke.
There's an entire 16-minute episode that is just them looking at the camera going, look, guys, we'll be honest, we were really tired this week. He's just going to look
That's
exactly the same.
That's kind of what Toriyama does as a mangaka, though. Like, he's always, sorry if I mispronounced that word. Not really, but he'll like, he draws his little self-portrait, the little guy in the gas mask being like, I wasn't feeling good today.
Yeah. And we're going to talk sort of a lot about how the universality of Dragon Ball Z and why it was so successful. But, we are obviously 4 white guys talking about this, and our experiences are sort of limited by that. So if you want to check out some really good articles, I've linked them down below that will give you more of a broader sense of Dragon Ball's appeal to both the Black community and the Latino community. But suffice it to say, it was a worldwide phenomenon and remains so to this day.
It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. You're just gonna fucking love that Goku. It's
well, he's just so powerful,
right?
Like the reason why you want to put him on the mural on your chicken shop is because like he could eat that whole place empty and only slightly like start to gain like a little bit of weight. But like then he'd have to eat way more if you want to make him like big and like perfectly round, and then he'd look like he was about to explode. And he'd even say like, oh, yeah, I think I'm about to explode. But he won't. Because he's so powerful.
Right.
Yeah. Alex, how familiar are you with Goku inflation as a fetish?
Oh, as a fetish?
Yeah.
I could learn more.
Okay. Yeah. It's intriguing, is what you're saying?
Yeah, you're intrigued?
I would like to see a big Goku.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's interesting is of the like 5 pieces of Goku inflation art on the internet, of those 5, like 2 of them are Goku as Violet Beauregard turning into a blueberry.
There you go.
Oh, heavens.
Oh, wait, which one are we looking
Just
at?
all of them.
There's actually quite a bit more
There's
now.
quite a bit more
okay,
now.
I see now that
This
some of that
one-
stuff.
It's catching on.
So no, I need Goku to be perfectly big and round. I don't want an engorged belly hanging off.
Pregnant Goku.
It looks like pregnant. Sonic made Goku pregnant.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which he did canonically.
That's why he's blue now.
Yeah.
Right. That makes a good opportunity maybe to pivot into the episodes that we are talking about today, which again, the core of the Frieza Saga. Now,
11 episodes.
Alex, when you selected these episodes, I'd love to hear a little bit more about sort of why you picked these specific ones and what it was like going back after all this time.
I'm glad you brought this up. Okay, so the prompt initially was I was talking to Josh. Josh said, I have not seen Dragon Ball Z. What can I watch to understand Dragon Ball Z?
Right.
And I looked at the screen and I said, that's impossible.
Table flip.
And I thought about, like, we could watch an episode or 2 of, like, the top Goku fights or whatever, but it will just be, like, confusing and upsetting. And the circumstances.
Why is that man getting hurt?
Not only will people be getting hurt, it won't be clear like why they are or who is doing it. So I was like, okay, what chunk of the show perfectly encapsulates like the entire dynamic of the storytelling of Dragon Ball Z? And so I looked for, because I remembered very vividly, there's a part at the end of the Namek saga which many people contend is the best part of the show. I don't think it is, but I think it has the best metaphor for the storytelling, which is Frieza, who is an evil alien and landlord.
Yes.
Cannot defeat Goku in a fight. He has turned Super Saiyan for the first time, which means he is blonde now.
Yes.
And so what he does is he takes his big energy ball. He looks like he's going to throw it at Goku. Instead, he throws it into the surface of the planet.
Yes.
And then he announces into the camera, this planet has 5 minutes.
You have 5 minutes.
You have 5 minutes to live.
Yep.
He holds up his hand.
His hand.
Which has,
you can count the fingers.
They're claws, but there's 5 of them.
Yeah.
And he says everything that happens from now until this planet blows up is 5 minutes. And then I just skipped until he dies. It's 3 hours later.
Yep. There are things where it's like 30 seconds left and it's 2 episodes for 30 seconds.
Yeah, and this is after he does the spirit bomb,
right?
Which is this big thing that they're setting up. It's like nothing else is going to work. Frieza's the most powerful thing ever. This whole planet is dying. Goku Goku is going to use all the remaining life force on Namek to finally destroy Frieza. That, I think, takes 3 episodes. That is 3 episodes of Goku standing.
Yes.
With his arms up.
Yes.
Like
somebody just scored
Moses.
a touchdown.
And it's just like Krillin and Gohan also just standing there, twitching their eyes and going, And then there's a brief point where Piccolo has to distract Frieza, but it's not most of the time. And then Goku throws the Spirit Bomb, which brings us into like the first episode that you sent us, or that you started us on. And Frieza is fine.
It doesn't work.
It does not succeed.
Bit of a fake out there, but it was a surprise for all of us.
And then it's like, so we did that 3 episodes to set you up for the fact that this is going to be very, very long.
Well, and one of the things that I love too is that it actually doesn't matter whether or not you've watched the continuity up until a given point, because the opening of each episode will tell you everything.
Last time on Dragon Ball Z, things were looking up. With Piccolo keeping Frieza busy, Goku was able to complete his ultimate weapon, the Spirit Bomb. Drawing energy from all living things, it was an attack not even Frieza could ignore.
No, that's impossible!
The awesome power of the Spirit Bomb seemed too much for him to handle, as he struggled to hold it back.
That's acting.
Can I say that? It was a chance moment indeed on planet Namek, as the hopes of our heroes were riding on this one attack. Has Goku finally conquered the vicious tyrant of space?
You can just
Will
hear
the
him not
universe
holding
once
it
again
back.
be sick from Frieza's greedy claws? Stay tuned to find out today.
And you get the title card, and you're like, oh, fuck yeah,
Goku. Woo! Upon rewatch, it is the perfect way to do children's television. For sure, which is just like, I know your brain isn't developed yet.
Yeah.
You can't remember who Frieza is.
It's also been a week, right? It's been a week,
or it's been a day, or it's like, maybe you had a little school choir thing to do yesterday, so now you come back today. Here's what you missed.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate show for children and drunks. And then things will happen, you'll go, I don't know why that's happening, and then a character will look directly at the camera and go, this is because of last episode. Let me show you and save the studio $1,000.
I remember when I was a kid, the only episodes of Dragon Ball that I watched in real time were the episodes where Goku was summoning the Spirit Bomb.
I remember, and you were like, fuck this.
And I remember at the end of the episode going, wait, but he didn't throw the Spirit Bomb. And my friend going like, I know, right? And I went, this is not the show for me, I don't think.
How big can it get?
Big and perfect.
And I remember on the playground the next day, they were all gathered around, they were talking. It's like, yeah, did you see how big the Spirit Bomb got? And I was just like, at least in every episode of Pokemon, they catch and meet a new Pokemon. Like something new happens in this.
But I think the playground piece is a really important thing when you talk about children's television, and I'm not sure that this is as much a dynamic for children's television these days, because you don't just go and sit down at your regularly appointed time to watch your regularly scheduled show so that you can keep up on it and talk to your friends at the playground the next day about how large Goku got.
Yeah,
right?
it's kids being like, yeah, did you see how much money Mr. Beast spent on that African village?
But really, like genuinely,
honestly, not even that anymore. And that's the crazy part. We're in a new territory. But it's also, they have phones now, so they can be like, hey, did you see that part? No, well, here it is, right? So they can experience it together.
Mr. Beast got the village phones?
Here's that new piece of AI-generated art.
Yeah.
Here's what the Skibbity toileted today.
Moving on then to sort of the meat of the episode. Goku's got that Spirit Bomb, right? And he throws it.
Yeah, that's
at
correct.
Frieza.
Josh, that's right.
And I think that's kind of the episode, right?
Yeah. But here's the thing. Episode does not start until about 4 minutes in, right? Then 2 minutes of credits at the end. So really you're getting about 16 minutes of episode per episode.
The other thing in this episode that was fucking wild was when he exploded Krillin. Frieza just like throws him up in the air and he fucking just
and here's the thing, Josh. Here's the thing you didn't know. Krillin already died.
Okay.
He loves
10
to
or
explode.
20 earlier.
He loves to explode.
So like
Okay.
earlier Frieza,
Favorite thing
so
to do.
Frieza is in his final form, kind of.
yeah.
Then he becomes Swole Frieza later.
Okay.
But like in one of his earlier forms, there are two forms of Frieza where he has horns, and then one is like him with horns but larger.
His voice also changes over the course of it. At first, he's got
And
like up here.
I forget, does he stab through Krillin with his tail or does he punch through him?
Oh, I think he stabs through him.
Yeah,
if I
so
recall.
Krillin gets impaled,
Right.
dies. They bring back the Namek dragon. They bring Krillin back, only for Krillin to just get exploded.
I do love that every episode after Krillin's brought back the second time, they just like go, they have a side to each other where they're like, Krillin can't die again. I'm out of favors up there.
Yeah, no, but it's true. It's like every time there's a lot of like talking about the logistics of wishes in this show.
Yeah,
It's just like
I pulled the clip a little later for that.
It's just wild.
Okay, this is a bit of an aside, but it's
Yes.
very important to understand if you are not familiar with Dragon Ball Z, how much it deteriorates as the like show logic is stretched, because it goes on for hundreds of episodes, and by episode 300 they're like, now we're explaining the rules for wishes, which we have eradicated half of. But that's because the dragon was mad. They just change all of the rules.
Yeah, they do end up being able to bring Krillin back again the next year or whatever.
In Dragon Ball Super, I'm sorry to spoil this, they kill Goku with a gun. He gets shot with a gun and dies. And you're just watching me like, I was assured this couldn't happen.
This is the one thing we didn't want to happen. Oh my
even the guy who shot
Lord.
it's like, wait, really?
Crime in R-rated cities is out of control.
We need Eric Adams in the DBZ universe.
He would fit, but he would be drawn very problematically.
Oh dear.
We will get there. But yeah, a little bit else about sort of plot in these episodes, just because the plot is so important.
Yeah.
Goku does finally go Super Saiyan, right? He explodes into a ball of energy, basically, and his hair gets long and spiky. And
Yeah, I had a question about going Super Saiyan. As someone who's like watched, a lot more of this than I have. Is it just when there's a trauma that's like acute enough for them to become...
So this plays into what I was talking about before, which is that they rewrite the rules every few days.
Got it.
Okay,
in Dragon
great.
Ball Z. The first time Goku goes Super Saiyan in this thing, they're like, by the way, Super Saiyan, which they've been building up for like 50 episodes. And people just keep not changing and showing up and announcing, by the way, I'm a Super Saiyan because I'm so strong. But they
it's
look the same.
basically the Saiyan Messiah is the Super Saiyan, and then they find out that Super Saiyan is a thing that the Messiah becomes.
You're blonde. You become blonde.
Right.
You can tell because you're blonde. But the first time Goku does it, he has a character transformation where he's pissed now. And like if you talk to Goku, he's just like, he hasn't eaten in long enough. He's just in a bad mood. Like his
And
son,
he can eat so much.
Yeah,
He really
you
can.
imagine how low his blood sugar gets. And his son comes up to him and is like, Daddy, I need to escape the planet. And he's like, get in the ship.
It's like the one time you hear Goku like really mad, and it's not really even at Frieza. It's directed at his
He's
son, for
doing
God's sake.
I don't care about you anymore. Get the fuck out, because he's trying to save his life.
Harry and the
Sacrifice
Henderson
himself.
situation, yeah.
It's a classical beast mode situation.
Yeah.
And then as the show goes on and they all start going Super Saiyan, they're like, you can go to the park if you're Super Saiyan.
Sure.
You can go to the movies.
So there's basically a power creep situation going on here, because I know about this with power levels
This is
too.
the ultimate power creep show.
Yeah.
Like no one has ever power creeped like the cast of Dragon Ball.
If you go to like their Wikipedia or whatever, you can try to follow the numbers they give to the power levels, and it is a mind bending. It makes no sense at all.
The show wisely just has a bunch of little Tetris blocks instead of actual numbers that they show you on Scouters. Like the only time you get a concrete number is 9,000, which it is over than.
Which you're noticing a lot of zeros on 9,000. I'm going to have a hard time keeping track over that. It goes into like, this is 426 billion. It's hard to write on paper without the 0 to the 10 sign.
Right. You have to start using scientific notation.
It's just hard when
get
you're
the number.
6.
No, exactly.
4 times 10 to the 26.
Oh, come
But
on.
there is sort of like a childlike logic to this world.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
It feels like a bunch of like 10-year-olds running around going like, well, my power level is 9,000, pew, and that kid defeats you. And it's just like,
I feel
I shouted timeout. Well, I shouted extra timeout.
Yeah.
And it gives me 2 more timeouts than you.
But that's the thing, is that now, because we grew up in the age of Dragon Ball Z, I don't know if that's something that's just like natural to like kids running around playing.
Oh, it absolutely
Or
is.
if that was just something that was put in by Dragon Ball.
No, I don't think so.
Not only is it natural to children, I think this is like how the Greeks felt when they talked about Achilles. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
It just makes so much sense on a gut level that it doesn't have to track
the Goku-iad.
Well, and I think to that point, you know, there's something so fun in the episode where Goku gets to finally have his big face-off with Frieza and talk about who he is.
You can destroy planets, but you can never destroy what I am, friend.
You?
Friendo.
What are you?
I am the hope of the universe. I am the answer to all living things that cry
Long
out for
pauses
peace.
between lines.
Sit on it.
I would love
I am protector of the innocent. I am the light in the darkness. I am truth.
Batman?
Allied to good, nightmare to you.
Oh my god.
It's so hard.
Frieza is so triggered by this.
Yes.
He hates good. He hates it so much.
In terms of like the sort of ancient quality to it, it's like this is how the story of David and Goliath goes, right? You have the battlefield, they all line up one side and the other, and they just yell at each other for 5 days before David just shows up with a rock, and it's like, we're done.
This is how pro wrestling works.
Right, and I didn't realize that as a kid because I didn't watch pro wrestling. I haven't really watched pro wrestling until recently.
Me either.
A friend of mine who does fight direction was working on the play Chad Deity, which is about pro wrestling. And so he was over here and we were watching some old shit that he used to watch when he was like a little kid in Pittsburgh in the 80s and 90s.
Sure.
And I was like, this is fucking phenomenal. and DBZ is just pro wrestling, but without actual people hurting themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
As a kid, I was like so against pro wrestling because
too.
I knew it was fake. And I
Right.
was like, they're not really fighting like my friend Goku does. He's out
My
there
close
doing
personal
it
friend.
every day.
Right.
For real.
I want to talk a little bit about the voice acting here.
Sure.
Because I was watching this and I had realized that the thing I had like experienced most with Dragon Ball was Dragon Ball Z Abridged, and it was so weird watching the actual voice actors because the actual choices that they make in the abridged version make them like into completely different characters, and I was not anticipating Goku sounding like Will Forte trying to sell me a Mazda Miata. That was just not something that was on my card. Like,
See, my reaction going back to this as an adult was like, this guy sounds a lot like Weird Al.
oh, interesting.
But like, yeah, because my association with Goku was the voice that I do.
Right.
Which is, he's very full, but still that is recognizably Goku. But that's when he's at his limit.
Right.
That's not when he's just like yelling at Gohan.
Yeah.
So to hear him back in sort of the sinusy, the nasal, the Weird Al tone.
I'm gonna take you down, Frieza.
Yeah.
It's and then the DBZ abridged version is just like, well, hi there, because he's like just an absolute idiot who has no idea what's going on at any given time,
and a terrible father.
Oh, he's a terrible father in this
all
too. I would
tracks
argue.
in the real show.
Yeah.
His morality is very confusing.
It draws from real life.
But I will say, other than Goku, I found the voice acting in this, at least in the English dub, to be quite good. When you look at King Kai, you're like, that's exactly what King Kai sounds like. He is Eric Cartman and a fish. Like that was what that character.
Well,
is.
it's funny that you say that because I pulled a clip of King Kai just to set this up. King Kai is, and I need your help with this, Alex, actually, because I'm not fully sure what's going on.
because you don't know who King Kai is.
Why don't you tell us who King Kai is?
Yeah.
Okay, so King Kai is one of the gods of the world, and I say one of because they keep establishing different ones that are bigger than the last one.
Got it.
And he lives on a tiny planet with a car he drives around on, and the planet's like 50 feet long, and the car goes back to the house he lives in.
It's only got one road, right?
Yeah, so
at the equator.
this is a heaven.
Yeah.
Goku died. He briefly sort of dropped into hell, and then he showed up in King Kai's planet. So that it's sort of a heaven.
And Goku's friends are in this heaven with King Kai, right?
Yes.
Yes. And
some enemies.
once we get into the heaven lore, it's going to be very complicated. I don't think the payoff is there,
Got it,
frankly.
okay.
No,
but
no.
he's God, but also he teaches you fighting moves.
Cool. Okay.
That's all you
Yeah.
need to know. He sounds like a Catskills comedian for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah, this is what he sounds like.
Frieza got desperate. He was losing the battle, so he used his trump card. He couldn't beat Goku, so he destroyed Namek.
Oh no.
Destroy Namek? But then that means...
That means that there was no longer any atmosphere or air for them to breathe. I'm afraid it's all over.
Huge if true.
Gosh, goodness.
He destroyed the planet. That means the planet is destroyed.
Now, to be very clear, at this point in the show, the planet has not, in fact, yet been
No,
destroyed.
King Kai's information is mistaken because he's just using his god antenna to pick up whatever is getting put down. There's a Truman Show thing going on for the whole show while they're on. This doesn't happen so much on Earth, but it does happen on Namek because no one else is there. So they're like, oh, we got to cut to Chi-Chi now. She's on the little video call. We got to cut to King Kai, and he is sensing what's going on. And so we always have to get some sort of crosscut. And since I started watching the show during the Namek saga, I'm like, look at this colorful cast of characters that's doing nothing. That's just standing around. There's a turtle, and he talks, and he's just worried about Goku.
There's a pig who transforms into different shapes. He doesn't do anything. He's just one of the guys who lives with the old man.
And then you
There's a
watch
very horny
original.
frog.
Well, then you watch original Dragon Ball, and you're like, oh, the old man and the pig are both perverts. Different kinds of perverts.
He lives on an island because he should be in jail.
But yeah, no, it is so fascinating how much of this feels like a Shakespearean play where it's a bunch of like messengers just relaying the information
Henry
to
VI
other
on a
people.
hilltop,
But the reason those exist in Shakespeare plays is that they couldn't stage the action.
Yeah.
But in this, you watch the action and then watch King Kai explain what you just saw to his his Triclops friend.
And then
his little
you will
mime
see
pervert.
all of that stuff flashed back to 6 episodes from now. Everything happens 3 times because you are a small baby child and you need to know everything going on.
Yes.
There's a natural progression to it. The first time it happens, you're surprised. The second time, you're like, that's right. And the third time, you're like, wasn't that hype as fuck?
Yeah. No, yes.
This is what I've been saying when I saw it happen.
But this is also, you've got
30 seconds ago.
to remember, though, that yes, this is because, we're talking about 11 episodes here, which if you were watching them originally would be over the course of 11 weeks. How fucking cool is it to see all 11 weeks that you've just been watching get recapped and be like, man, fuck, Goku was so cool when he did that. Goku was so cool when he did that. Goku's so fucking cool.
This Frieza's out of control.
Yeah.
This walking iPad needs to be stopped.
This alien being of indeterminate gender is really doing some strange things right now.
Okay, so that's a question that I had, actually. How come Frieza has a lower voice in these episodes than in some of the other episodes where Frieza's voice is higher pitched? Did something happen?
Oh, it's his final form.
It's his final form.
Got it. Okay.
And also, and during the clips we watch, he turns into strong SpongeBob, strong Patrick form,
Yeah.
where they get like 80s buff, and then for that, you gotta have a deep voice for
Got
that.
it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But but the voice is very feminine, and he's like wearing black lipstick,
Right.
and
It's very drag.
More interestingly, too, if you watch the show in Japanese, Goku's voice actor, because she played him from the beginning when he was a child, is a woman.
Oh.
Is a like
Yeah.
90-year-old woman now.
Yeah, the switch from America Goku to Japanese Goku is so jarring the first time.
You're like, hold on, wait a second.
There's a lot of
she's not trying to do a man's voice. She's just doing Goku's voice. It's just a woman.
That's Goku.
Yeah.
Goku
Yeah.
did not go through human puberty.
Sure.
Yeah, no, he's a Saiyan.
They cut off his tail.
Yeah. Oh God, he's a eunuch?
And
Yeah.
then later they blew up the moon. No time to get into that.
No, instead, we only have time to go through a few more of these episodes. So just looking at my notes here, Frieza has now thrown the planetary annihilation beam down at Namek, which means that we have 5 minutes and 5 minutes only And that's all that Goku needs. Is 5 minutes.
I feel like
He'll beat him in 4.
Children are getting a lot of warnings for 5 minutes, so that really resonates.
Oh, there you go.
Across culture.
I'm just remembering what it was like
I'm
when.
not going to say it again, Goku. Don't make me start counting. 1, 2, 3. Get in the car seat, Goku. Get in, or you won't get any Cheez-Its.
I'm just remembering, when I was a kid and like 5 minutes feeling like an eternity, going back to the child logic of the show.
Oh, sure.
5 minute timeout, right? Remember
But
how long a 5 minute
even
timeout
then,
was?
Like, I was a kid watching this, and I was watching in syndication. It wasn't a week apart, it was a day apart. So it was like 2.5 weeks of watching this.
Sure.
I was like, okay, guys, let's get it moving.
Yeah.
I know I'm out here. I'm having fun with my Legos watching your show. But like, at this point, just skip ahead to the half hour of Ronin Warriors. At least they get something done in a half hour.
Well, I tell you what we can do is we can skip ahead a little bit to talking about one of the other main plot beats that's going on here, which is that Gohan, Goku's son, is also on Namek, the planet that is falling apart.
Gohan, son Goku's son.
Gohan, son Goku's son.
That's right. Yes. Thank you for that. And he's hanging out with Bulma, who sucks.
Bulma sucks so hard in this arc.
Bulma gets such a bad rap, and then when you find her again, if you find her in Dragon Ball, and it's like, oh, she's the only reason any of these people are alive.
Well, this is what she sounds like in Dragon Ball Z right after Kid Gohan saved her entire fucking ass.
Hey, thanks! Wow. But hey, what took you so long, you big jerk? And you could have left yourself more than 1 second to spare, you know. This is my life we're talking about here. Hello? Wake up call. Where are Goku and Krillin anyway, those scoundrels?
Can we talk about this later, Bulma? This whole planet is about to blow.
This is a 10-year-old.
Things are unstable here, to say the least. But we're going home, aren't we? Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. We're actually going home. Yay!
I hope so.
All right!
How old is Bulma here?
Bulma's around 25. Listen, she's from family wealth.
Okay.
Yes, she sure is. She has old money.
Got that capsule money.
To be fair to Bulma, she was just a frog.
She was a frog before.
She was a
body
frog.
has been
That's why
violated
she hates
on this
that
journey.
She
There's
keeps
a
running
horny
into
frog,
that frog that she really hates, and she keeps kicking it. It's because the frog was her for a while, and she was it.
Okay.
They Freaky Friday'd.
Yeah.
And so she's got a reasonable grudge
She's
against
been
the
through
frog.
so much, and that's why her character is completely corrupted by the end of the show, and she's kind of like an Elon Musk figure.
What else do we need to know about Bulma,
And
Alex?
Vegeta is her Grimes.
So at the Vegeta is her Grimes. That's correct.
Grimes would wear that bad guy T-shirt, I think.
So the show
Bad
starts, Dragon Ball starts, and the show is Bulma and Goku, and they're both children, and Bulma's like 14 and Goku's 8 or whatever, and they'd have like a Princess Amidala, Anakin Skywalker thing, and she carts him around, and he beats up Frankenstein, and then she puts him on a motorcycle, and they're best buds forever, and they do that, and then as the show continues to get off the rails, Bulma's character naturally is like, I don't deserve this. There's nothing I've done that means that I should have to like go fight this giant ape with you.
Yeah. She's also like really smart. She's like she can build shit. You know, yeah.
She's Elon Musk, but she's also like actually Iron Man. Like she is both.
Yeah.
She's like evil, but she's like capable as well.
And that's what I was saying about like that cast of colorful characters. Like you have all these guys who used to be really useful in Dragon Ball, but because of the power creep thing, and it's like some of them are human, some of them are whatever Tien is, they don't have anything going for them after a while. They allow Piccolo to get stronger, but pretty much after that, it's just Piccolo and Saiyans getting stronger, and
Yamcha
everyone else just sort of hangs out.
Yamcha becomes a baseball player.
That's probably the best arc for Yamcha.
Well, we mentioned Piccolo, and this might be a good opportunity to sort of bring him up, right? Because something else that is going on here is that Piccolo is a character. He's a big green guy, and his whole deal is that he used to be Goku's enemy, but he's become his ally. Is that right?
Okay, so following a similar trajectory to Vegeta, Piccolo was spat out of the god of Earth as his evil self.
Right.
And they were like, oh no, the evil version of God is running around and doing karate, Goku.
And it's not Mr. Satan, surprisingly.
Right. No,
Yeah,
that guy's neutral.
Yeah, they flash back to the God of Earth thing where you see him spit the egg out, and it's like, oh yeah, there's an old guy who's his good side, and then there's a young feisty guy who's his bad side. But then the bad side ends up okay.
He essentially ends up raising Goku's son while he's dead, and that warms his heart, and then he's nice after that. And he just meditates under waterfalls.
So he's sort of a surrogate father to Kid Gohan?
Yes, and he's green, and then you find out this whole planet is full of people like him. He's an alien.
And the planet
so
Namek,
the god of Earth is from Namek.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And the planet Namek, which is being destroyed, that's the planet that all of these green guys come from.
Yeah.
And Frieza has obliterated all of them.
Frieza is a planet landlord. He blows up planets and sells them. And he has the Saiyan race who are humans, but they have monkey tails, and if they look at the full moon, they turn into giant monkeys and shoot laser beams out of their mouths.
Okay.
Which is why we blew it up.
And that's why we blew up the damn thing, because it's not safe. And then blew it up a second time when it shouldn't have been back yet?
Got it. Okay.
Don't worry about that.
The moon regrows?
What? They went into sort of an Evangelion loop, and
sure, all right.
They still had the streak of blood on it. Yeah.
There's also no problem when it blows. It blows up, and everyone's like, "Good, fine."
I hate these giant monkeys anyway.
I'm so tired of night.
Call it a Doctor Who. That's a Doctor Who plot beat. I wish I were joking.
To pull it back to the green guys, the Namekians, right?
Are they called Namekians, or are they just called Nameks?
Namekians.
They're called
Namekians, yeah.
For all of my life, I think I've just called the people of Namek Nameks.
Wow.
Do you call the people of New York New Yorks?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Is that also wrong?
Yeah, it is actually. Yeah.
New Yorks.
They call themselves New York-anders. That's not funny. I don't know.
That's
why I
my
said that.
Swedish friend from Manhattan, New York Anders.
That's good.
All right.
That's a t-shirt.
Yes, all of the Namekians have been obliterated, and so we get this very confusing little bit of dialogue that's sort of explaining the logistics of wishes and how they can work. The idea being that maybe we can bring these guys back.
Yeah.
Tommy, you said that Tien and Yamcha could be wished back. Does that mean that more than one person can be revived with these Dragon Balls at the same time?
Of course, as long as they perished under some common circumstance,
Trey
they
Parker?
certainly can.
Yes, very good. Okay, let me get this straight.
Okay.
So if we asked the dragon to restore all of those who were killed by Vegeta, for instance, would it work?
Yes, it should. But only for those who were killed within a year's time at most.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I see. And that just doesn't apply to those from Earth, but includes people from other planets as well?
I think so. I don't see any
You can hear the message sending in real time.
Now, Tommy, this is the most important question of all.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
What if a mother lost her children at the hands of Vegeta, for instance, and her grief caused her to pass away too? Now, if we wish back all of those who were killed by Vegeta, would her life be restored as well, since Vegeta's actions were the direct cause of her passing away?
Oh, dear me.
I feel like I'm reading the Talmud.
So here's the thing. As an ex-Catholic, I feel like I like kind of perk up a little bit of like, ooh, procedure. Ooh, bureaucracy. But the thing is, in these episodes where a lot of it is just like watching the planet like slowly dissolve in on itself and watching a lot of old footage.
Right.
I did actually appreciate the fact that something was getting done in the scenes that we were cutting away from the main action. Like this is the plot that's happening, right? They're gathering all the Dragon Balls so they can make the wish.
Right.
And I like seeing the logistics of that plan actually talked about and dealt with. I just, again, we didn't need to hear the message, hear it fly through the cosmos, land in the guy's head, and then have him respond to every single time.
But that's how it went.
Yeah.
Right.
That's how it actually happened.
You have to document it accurately, AJ.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, this documentary, my real friend
It's very
Goku.
clear, and I don't know enough about like the way production works in Japan. But like clearly they have a quota that they have to meet.
Right.
They have to make a certain number of episodes.
Right.
And they've just got to do it. And it's like they have this much story from the manga to go off of, which is quite a bit of story.
They got a lot.
Yeah.
And they're still adding things to it and creating more filler. Like there's characters that are in the cartoons that aren't in the comics. Like, yeah.
I do wonder too if they had to do this more in the 90s when they actually paid like armies of people to hand draw this shit as opposed to like even in Naruto, is like half computers doing the work. They got a lot of little droids in there beep booping the mountain backgrounds back together. Whereas all the 90s anime is the best looking ones because it's like
all hand drawn,
a monument of human labor, and so they just fill it with bullshit.
Yeah,
so they can get it all out.
And it's often the same shit over and over and over again. Like the sheer number of times that I saw that cliff fall down into the ocean, I must have seen that fucking animation 25 times.
Or even the punching one when it's Frieza and Goku just like going at each other.
That's just so cool.
It is so cool.
There is like an episode in here that's just them punching at each other the whole time. And that's awesome.
Those are the best ones.
Yeah. And you're right. They're just recycling shit. It's like a Hanna-Barbera cartoon where they have like a scrolling background. And you can see the seam or whatever.
It's when Shaggy and Scooby run through opposite doors for combat.
Right.
Can you help me a little bit though with like what exactly is going on in this moment when they're talking about the dragon, the balls, and the wish?
Okay, I actually can, and I have the ability to.
This is my curse.
Earth.
Yes, okay.
The Dragon Balls are tied to the existence of the protector of Earth, who is Kami. Kami is Japanese for God. It's the green old guy.
Yes.
As he dies, the Dragon Balls turn to stone, and you use them to get 7 of them together and summon a dragon who has a very funny voice and also sounds not so confident sometimes.
Yes.
And the dragon grants one wish.
Yes.
The Earth Dragon.
The Earth Dragon grants one wish, and then they find out in this season there's a Namek dragon. Namek's a different planet which has a similar thing, but instead of a long Chinese armless dragon or short-armed dragon, they have like a buff Hulk dragon.
Yes.
Oh,
Who sounds the same, but has like you get 3 wishes from him, but he's less powerful.
Okay.
And so they have like these wish lawyers
he has to deliberate with, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He lives with them. So that King Kai, who is the ruler of like space of the northern part of the galaxy. So Earth is like one of the planets, and Namek's one of his planets. And so he's like checking in on them because all the Frieza stuff's so interesting. And he's calling down to his subordinate who has the book in front of him, and he's like,
okay.
Do sad mothers come back?
Got it. I see. Okay.
Yes.
It is. I mean, genuinely, Brian, you said it is very Talmudic. It reminds me of that process where it's like you've really got to check, and sometimes the answer is maybe.
Yeah.
It feels like they're just fielding...
That would be interesting if it was maybe, but like a lot of this is just them finding an excuse to be like, okay, we're going to bring this character back.
Yeah, they're all going to be there.
As you mentioned, Alex, when the Guardian of Earth dies, the Dragon Balls turn to stone. You can't get a dragon anymore.
You certainly can.
Same thing happens on Namek. So when the Guardian of Namek dies, those Dragon Balls turn to stone.
Sure.
And remember, we said the Namek dragon can grant 3 wishes.
But they aren't as like all-encompassing of wishes. They're weaker wishes, or...
That's what they say. It kind of seems
Either way, they just use the wishes to just bring everyone back to life. That's basically all they ever do.
Okay.
Frieza wants to use these wishes to get immortality, and then Vegeta could get his wish to get immortality, etc. So imagine you're in a situation where maybe you've gotten 2 out of your 3 wishes granted, and then the Guardian of Namek dies.
Sure.
Well, that's precisely what happened. Or they only got 1 wish granted, and there's 2 left.
I don't remember. They
one
blow
of those things.
A lot of
Either
these
way,
wishes.
There is a remaining wish, but the balls have turned to stone, and the dragon has disappeared.
Okay.
So they need to use the Earth Dragon to bring back the Namekian
dragon combo.
Got it.
Dragon
so they
combo.
bring back all the Namekians who were killed by Frieza, including those that died of grief as a result.
Sure.
But the thing is that it doesn't bring back every Namekian because
Vegeta killed some of them.
Vegeta killed some of them.
Okay.
And this is where this is where my brain starts to break a little bit, because Vegeta did that at the behest of Frieza.
Employer-employee relationship.
Yeah,
Right.
Wouldn't that mean that they died at Frieza's hand because Frieza was the boss?
They should have
This is
said
the Nuremberg arc of Dragon Ball Z.
They should have said it was like what is his name? The Frieza gang or the Frieza squad?
The Ginyu Force?
Oh, the Frieza Force. There's Ginyu Force, which is like a subset of Frieza
They're
Force.
the elite. We don't have time.
One of them is Australian. That's all you need to know.
Ginyu is the guy who turned Bulma into a frog, by the way.
Australia is far closer to Japan than America is. That's a fact.
Right. Ginyu has the power to Freaky Friday anyone, and it gets very underutilized. So the Frieza Force, they should have said, anyone killed by like Frieza LLC could come back, but instead, since they just said Frieza, that meant that anyone killed by Vegeta or Ginyu or whoever could not come back.
I'm gonna take your word for it, man.
Yeah, I'd like to imagine that Frieza had to set up an LLC for his real estate, for being a landlord. Is it Big Frieza LLC?
Yeah. And so then he has to have a shell corporation for each planet. That's just the name of the planet.
The
LLC.
paperwork is killing me.
Yeah. And then he has like a bunch of other investments in the Golan Heights.
No, don't do this.
He does. It's part of the show.
Yeah, he teamed up with Haim Saban.
There were 50 episodes dedicated.
God. All right, so let's get it back to sort of the conclusion of this bit of it, because the planet is falling apart. I think at this point we have 4 minutes left.
The best bit that DBZ Abridged did was that Frieza didn't know what a minute was.
The narrator keeps really strongly implying once you get towards the end of it that the planet's going to blow next episode.
Yes.
Yeah. It will happen. Tune in, same bat time, same bat channel, and it just doesn't.
Sure doesn't.
They're real jerks with the cliffhangers, by the way. They never let off with that.
No.
Even the last episode we watched, when Frieza was killed for the 5th time, spoilers, they're still like, will Goku get off this planet? And it's like, it's been hours.
And it's, it's an entire episode of Goku getting off the planet, and then finally an entire episode where you find out that the whole episode is just you find out Goku isn't dead.
And he wasn't doing anything. He was just somewhere else.
He was on another planet.
He doesn't want to come back right now.
Learning how to teleport. Didn't make a phone call.
When it comes to stringing these wishes together, there's a few different components to this.
Yeah.
We get the character of Popo.
Mr. Popo.
Sorry. And
please, can you? Mr. Popo was my father.
It's his father's name.
Can you help me, Alex, understand what the deal is with Mr. Popo?
So legally, I cannot be blamed for Mr. Popo.
Okay.
I just want to get that out on the recording. I have nothing to do with Mr. Popo.
Okay, cool.
Mr. Popo is a responsible young man who lives in partnership with Kami in his secret tower.
Okay.
And he helps him with his administration and various doings. And it is briefly implied he is magical to do some things, but also those things seem like they're paperwork and stuff.
I've just pulled up an image of Mr. Popo. I'm not a fan of what I'm seeing.
Yeah, he wears a turban. He wears
That's not really the issue.
MC Hammer pants.
That's also not really the issue.
He's got a great vest.
Yeah.
Not really the issue.
He's got a jewel on the turban.
An earring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
None of these are really the issue that I am seeing with this character.
Is it the pointy
specifically.
ears? You don't like that he has pointy ears?
No, it's
Pointy
probably
shoes?
it's probably the big red lips and the completely black face. I think those are the big
Well, it's
the
not
big
just his
eyes
face.
and
It's not just his face.
It's his whole body.
his entire body.
The whole thing.
I don't know. I don't.
He's a polyglot. Does that endear you to him at all?
I mean, a little bit, but like I don't know. I'm just this is one of those things where it's like it reminds me of what Jinx, right? The Pokemon.
Yes.
It's
They
a
did a
very
similar
similar
thing.
kind of image.
Yes,
Yeah.
they did change Jinx
when
to
they
be purple
showed,
now.
they made Jinx purple, and I think Jinx is also purple in Japan now. It was one of those things that was just like whenever they'd bring it over, they'd just sort of change the sprite a little
He's purple
bit.
for you guys because you're so mad at me.
And Mr. Popo, when they showed him on the WB, they made him blue.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's
strong
right.
choice.
Yeah.
That's like the one bit of, it's like, oh yeah, they censored this. I'm like, that's fine. I think that's okay.
I think we're all okay
I
with
think
that.
because
the
the
red
pointy
pill.
ears, is he supposed to be a genie or something?
I think he looks like a genie.
He is supposed to vaguely be based on a god of some description.
Oh, that would make sense. But it's also just like a modern, like, this is a type of drawing that you will come across in anime.
Yes.
If you thought Bulma looked bad in this crop of episodes, the best thing we saw on the rewatch of the entire show is there's an arc before they go to Namek where Mr. Popo has to teach Bulma how to speak Namekian.
Okay.
And she just has a very ignorant streak that does not show well on her.
Oh no.
She says a lot of stuff. She's on Fox News and stuff that we know does not define her.
I'm pretty sure Namekian is just Greek. I don't know. It sounded like Greek.
It's all over the place, really.
But with Mr. Popo, beyond his appearance, which we'll put to the side for the moment, why is he so crucial for this whole, making the wish? Like, what
he's the Jar Jar.
What is about him that allows him to facilitate this transaction?
I think he's just like the one who knows about wishes.
Okay.
He's like Kami's admin guy.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense.
Again, I think he's a genie, but I don't think he grants wishes.
Sure.
Because genies don't do that in this world. It's just dragons.
Well,
what is there to misunderstand here?
the good news about Mr. Popo and his expertise in the wish sector is that we do get him finally asking the dragon, if he can pull
Earth
off
dragon.
Yes, thank you. If he can pull off bringing everyone back, and the dragon goes, I will try. So
let her try.
Let her try. And so that wraps up the 5th episode of these fucking things.
If you can believe it, we've gone through 5.
I mean, before the break, the last big thing that I just wanted to get through was the 6th episode where Goku, he fucking dies.
Again, this is the second time that he dies.
Right. Yes. He's fighting Frieza.
Close friend.
His power signal goes out, so
Gohan can't sense him anymore.
Gohan can't sense him anymore, and everybody's like, oh no, Goku died. Will he make it back?
Something actually happens here, because Gohan's like, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to go fight him now. If my dad's dead, I don't give a shit anymore. I'm going to kill this bitch.
I like this.
Yeah.
Funky little kid Gohan, yeah.
Gohan
really
is sent to live with his babysitter Bulma on the ship, and then she goes, no, we have to leave on the spaceship. And he's like, my dad's dead. I don't care anymore.
She's like, I don't know how to pilot this. I am going to explode alongside the planet.
You shoot laser beams, I can't stop you.
Not my problem.
This is a rare character moment that actually really works for me, where you get to see what drives Gohan.
In Dragon Ball Z, the thing about it is the reason I stuck with it, even after enduring the Frieza Saga, is that they'll sort of alternate between these long things and short things, right? They'll alternate between something where something's very eventful. Garlic Jr. shows up again. Frieza shows up because he didn't actually die. He's a cyborg now. Fuck it. There's a robot Frieza even later. Who cares? Then you have androids, and then they're not the real androids. Here's the real androids. And then Cell shows up, and then it's just Cell for 80 episodes. And then I just give up by the time Goku dies again.
That's the new metal portion of Dragon Ball Z. That's my favorite part.
There's a part where Goku does the spirit bomb a second time. You're like, okay, they've got to finally pay it off. And he misses.
It's harder than it looks.
Mamma mia.
I couldn't do it.
Throw one spirit ball. Tell me how it goes.
It's me casting Comet Azur at a boss in Elden Ring. It's like, if this hits, this could do it all.
Great, but most of the time, dodges right out of the way.
But basically at this point, Frieza, he has now fully kicked Gohan's ass. Kid Gohan gets a couple good punches in, but
because Gohan is not trying to defeat Frieza.
Right.
He's trying to run out the clock on those 2 minutes that remain.
That's
We're
right.
now at 2 minutes.
If only he knew how long the minutes were.
Yeah. I mean, that's the tough thing.
But here's the thing.
Namekian minutes, they go crazy.
I'm gonna make an argument here that maybe this show is just the only one that properly illustrates time dilation.
Sure.
Maybe a minute on this planet is 9 hours everywhere else.
Oh my God, can you imagine watching this high?
Not only can I imagine it,
Yeah.
I have done it so many times.
So
it's this preposterous thing. Who's ever watched Dragon Ball Z high?
I'm just thinking about it because I have time dilation freaks me out a lot.
Okay.
I think I would have a very, 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 very bad time.
Tune in next week for our episode Interstellar.
I just imagine Josh sitting in the theater for Interstellar going, ah!
No, sir, no.
But anyway,
Bookshelf.
Gohan does manage to sort of find some power within him, but it's not enough to really knock Frieza down.
Yeah.
But thankfully, at the end of this episode, some sort of beam comes up from out of the water of the planet, and it's fucking Goku, dude.
Yep.
That's what it's all about.
Because the Earth Dragon brought everyone killed by Frieza back to life, including Goku.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I thought, or is it just that Goku's not dead and he was under the ground for a while?
I just assumed he does this shit all the time.
Because it is kind of an off-screen death. You just sort of see a cloud and they're like, Goku's dead. And I was watching it. I was like, oh, he's not. But he doesn't show up again until after everyone comes back to life.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I thought that he had been granted life again by the dragon.
The thing
Who
is,
knows?
I don't think he would die because then there would be a lot of dialogue back and forth about, oh, I did kill you once, though.
I
killed you before. Because Goku does a lot of talking shit later. That's everyone would say I'm stronger than you now.
But
it wasn't even close.
It's so hard to tell. It's what do you want us to bring away from this moment.
Well, but I do think that another commonality between Dragon Ball Z and Shakespeare is that there is no subtext. Like, if something happens, it's going to be spelled out explicitly.
But
and the
people
same is
can
true
be
here.
wrong here, though. Like,
True.
people, like in Hamlet, he's not actually crazy. He's just playing at it. Calling that guy's daughter a fish.
Hamlet can hide his power level he learned on Earth.
That's true.
Why, sir and madam, to expostulate what his power level may be. What goodness is, why day is day, night night, and time is time would be nothing but to waste 5 minutes.
Forsooth, it's over 9,000.
Well, look, when we get back from our break, we're going to talk about the back half of this saga. We're going to learn some more about, like, the rules of wishes and their consequences.
Yes, more rules.
So stay tuned for more rules, and we'll be back with you in just a moment.
No, it can't. It can't be.
That's right, Vegeta. I'm back.
What are you doing here?
I have some unfinished business.
We'll take it somewhere else. Vegeta and I are enjoying a lovely picnic together. Alone!
Nice try.
Kakarot, get up! Leave us alone, Frieza. I just want to eat my lunch.
Oh, you'll eat your lunch. You'll eat every last bite.
Gladly. I came prepared for your schemes. There's only an adequate amount of food in this picnic basket. My lunch wouldn't inflate a house cat.
Well, aren't you a smarty pants? Unfortunately for you, I have become a franchisee for Golden Corral. It's all you can eat.
What? No! That's impossible!
It's very possible. Golden Corral provides industry-leading support to all new locations. They have helped me every step of the way with certification, recruitment, and training.
Kakarot, he will fill you to bursting this time for sure! What are we doing here?
What?
No, I mean, really, what are we doing here? What is this? We've been here so many times before. The same thing. The same exact bullshit. We're fighting, or it's some fetish shit, or I'm eating, or, like, shouldn't I be doing something? Anything that's not this?
Oh, is the primate searching for novelty in his drab existence?
It's not drab. It's exciting. Or, well, at least it's supposed to be. You're right, Kakarot. We're heroes of legend. We are supposed to be storytellers, progenitors of history itself. We need to be delivering something new to our audience.
Ah, the fools you are. Your audience demands consistency. They demand steady continuations of the lives they peer into week after week. On the page, on the screen, through their speakers and headphones. They respond to this far better than the novelty you need months or years to dream up. And their money fills your pockets and keeps a roof over your head. Their lives are repetitive as well. Do you sincerely believe that you are owed something greater because you occupy the hallowed halls of Storyteller?
But surely we can do something other than this.
Like what? Meta-commentary?
It is a start.
It was a start. Your faces are plastered all over the world. You have been around for almost 40 years. The meta-commentary has been made, and made again. You cannot possibly innovate on this front. You are not special.
I am special. I'm light itself. Here to defeat evil and mischief.
You are a good guy. Ultimately indistinguishable as a person from millions who came before you. Nothing more than a reflection of how people would like to imagine themselves to be. For as long as you draw breath, You will repeat your days the same as anyone else. You are trapped.
So the only way out is what? Death?
Oh no. Death is never an escape. Freedom means feeling new air, the light upon your face, actually experiencing something different. Death is not simply the cessation of experience, but also of experiencer.
That means if regret is nothing but lost potential, then all death is the immortalization of regret. So if we choose then not to die, what? What do we do? We just keep going, I guess.
The universe is shaped exactly like the Earth. If you go straight long enough, you end up where you were.
Here! No.
Forever suspended in reality.
Yet drifting away. Ever expanding.
Unable to escape.
Whiling away the sunsets.
At Golden Corral. When you're here, you're corralled.
So we're back, and I've been wondering, could Goku beat Frieza in a fight?
Yes.
It's never been tried.
Yeah.
I mean, theoretically, this is spoiler zone here. He doesn't, because Trunks is the one who actually does it.
Right.
But in this version, Frieza does it to himself, kind of.
Yes.
And then until the final blow, which is in fact Goku's.
A big theme in DBZ is that Goku has to die alongside whoever he's killing, because I think that happens with Cell. Everybody just blows up real big, and round, sorry, had to.
You're thinking about my system.
It was an exciting proposition. I got it.
Yeah. He's a big bug. He's a big bug. He's all full of juice.
Slurpy slurp. Well, and the previous time that Goku died, Piccolo was killing another guy and had to blast through that guy while Goku was holding on to him, so Goku also got blasted through.
I don't think they ever top that moment in terms of vengeful murder. Or you got Goku puts a guy in an arm bar and they both get impaled.
I've been to some parties like that in Brooklyn.
Hey-o.
Whoa. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
Happy Toriyama Tuesday.
Well, so here's the thing, right? We'll remember that there was a question around a wish. Would it, in fact, be possible to bring back all of these people and get them to Earth? The answer is yes.
Yes. 1 million times yes.
It took 2 episodes, but we got there.
We cleared the legal process. We're bringing them back.
So everybody except for Goku and Frieza gets evacuated back to Earth. They basically get beamed over.
There's a good bit of dramatic irony here. If you've seen earlier episodes, if you're new, it's fun and exciting for you. Where like Frieza's like, oh, the Namekian dragon is back because all the Namekians are back. They all came back like staggered a little bit,
right,
for the sake of suspense. But then Frieza's like, fuck yeah, I've got 1 wish left. I'm gonna fly over there and get my immortality. And he's like, hey, I wish for immortality.
Yeah, he gets there first. He beats the kid.
But the Namekian dragon, regardless of the fact that he speaks English, does not grant wishes in English.
Only in Namekian.
Right.
Only in Greek.
This is why you need the lawyer.
Yes.
Now, is this something that had been explained before, or was this a last-minute twist of excitement? Okay. I didn't know.
The whole thing. They like woke him up and they keep trying to get wishes and he's just like standing there and they're like, why? Come on.
They have to go through Dende.
Yeah, Dende, the little green guy.
America's sweetheart, Dende.
We love Dende.
He does little magic
the saddest
things.
orphan in space.
He makes a little fire with his hands.
So I just wanted to ask one more question again, just because this was, just to go back to what you said in the first half, Alex, like that this would be the series of episodes that would help me understand Dragon Ball Z.
Yes.
I feel like on some level it did. Like I understand what the vibe is. When it comes to understanding the world, I would say that it raised more questions than it answered.
No, see, but that is the thing you have to understand is it won't make sense.
Sure.
It doesn't make sense. The more questions you ask, the less it makes sense.
Got it. Okay, so
Which is what great art does, right? It leaves you with more questions.
So I'm going to ask you a question. The dragons, right? They come from the Dragon Balls, is
You're
my
not
understanding.
going to leave here satisfied.
There's 7.
I don't think they come from the Dragon Balls.
Okay.
Just that bringing the balls together
summons them.
Yeah.
Okay.
P is stored in the Dragon Balls.
The entire point.
It's not.
The entire point of getting the dragons to come back around is so that you can make a wish. That's it, right? That's the whole point of the dragons?
Yeah, they're not really your friend.
No, they're actually quite imposing. And they have very low voices.
Yes. Okay.
They have
And
one very low voice.
And you know what? They're trying their best. They're really going to try for you.
I don't think they're trying that much. I think they just kind of hang out, but they do their job.
I realize that this is a very broad question, but is there anything else that I should know about the dragons?
I think you got it.
Okay.
Have they explored each other's bodies?
They don't tell you anything else you want to know. It's never clear where the dragons go when they're not wishing on things.
Right.
It's a hellish existence.
There is an arc in Dragon Ball GT, which is the least good part of the whole thing.
Kind of non-canon, right, GT?
So when they made Dragon Ball Super because they decided they want more money, they said, hey, this ending we wrote for the show before people didn't like, that didn't even happen.
Okay.
But
Don't
it's
worry
like
about it.
75 episodes. I've watched it recently. It's actually worse than you remember.
Wow.
And the last
Wow.
arc of the show is the dragons who live in all of the balls separately before they become one big dragon. They wreak vengeance on the planet for all the negative energy of the misuse of the balls.
That's amazing.
And they're like, don't wish for things. The moral is it's wrong to wish.
Okay. Can I ask another question? This guy Guru, what's his deal?
Guru is okay. So
he's the leader of the Namekians, right?
The way that Kami is the protector of Earth, Guru is the protector of Namek, but Namekians are not humans, and so they reproduce asexually from Guru. And
I
they're
forgot
all
about
his
that.
children.
Oh,
okay.
Sure.
So do they all
love him?
Do they all come out of the
metaphorical.
egg? Is that the idea there?
I think it's an egg.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, I don't think they eat food either.
Okay.
They're big, like they're plants.
But Guru's whole deal is that he is the big head honcho of Namek, the Namekian people, the planet, etc.
He kind of looks like the Godfather if you're picturing him, but he's green.
He also kind of looks like Yoda a little bit.
Yeah.
I had forgotten that they're basically vegetables.
Yeah, they're
like Piccolo
vegetables
has a
with
whole thing
abs.
where his arm gets sucked off by Cell later, and then he just talks to him for a while, and he's like, "Ha! I tricked you into talking to me. I have a whole arm again because I'm a vegetable."
Yeah, he shoots his arm out and goo comes out. One of my favorite things to do. I haven't done a lot of like on stage physical bits in my stand up, but I did for like 6 months do a thing where I would start a set as the amazing one-armed comedian and then like pop something in my shirt and shoot an arm out and water would go everywhere and I'd be like, "Oh God! Oh no! I have nothing now."
I also just wanted to point up that at this time, once the wish has been granted and everybody's been sent back to Earth, there's 2 minutes left at this point.
It's been 3 minutes.
Yes.
Yes, it has been 3 minutes. And how many hours of real time? 2.5?
Sounds something like that. Yeah. So we're back on Earth, right? And everybody is very impressed with Goku, obviously, because they've sort of been.
They always are.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
of
who
course.
wouldn't be? He's so strong.
Look at those pecs.
He's a hunk.
Yes.
That's what he is.
We get some flashback here
Happy
from
Pride.
Happy Pride. We get some flashback here from Piccolo about like why he finds Goku to be so impressive, you know, despite the fact that they were once enemies.
Yeah, and that's such a non sequitur. You just see like a guy getting punched and an egg comes out. And Piccolo is like, "I came out of that egg." You're like, "Are you fucking?" This has just been a show about like aliens punching each other, and you are a egg
that came from punching.
This is also, though, where we get Vegeta. Vegeta has been brought back to life because he was previously dead. Now he's been sent to Earth, and he's sort of an anti-hero, I guess, right? He's a tritagonist to Goku and Gohan, sort of.
Yeah,
he's a bad man.
Yeah,
he's planning to become a villain again,
right?
Because he wants to be the strongest being in the the whole universe.
He wants to rule the universe.
And right
the same way that
now,
Frieza does.
Before that point, Frieza was the strongest being in the universe, and now Goku is stronger than Frieza. So Vegeta's like, hell yes. All I have to do is wait for both of them to die, and I win by default.
Right.
And he's picking grass out of the ground and just going like, yes, I will be the most powerful being in the universe. All will bow down and follow me.
I've actually, I pulled a clip here of his evil laugh in that episode in its entirety.
Guy in the booth just like stretch it out. We got 9 minutes.
Still thinking about it.
He's throwing the grass in the air.
I wanted to start coughing midway through.
This is really sad, but watching this, I was thinking like, God, I'd kill to be that happy about something.
Well, that's the thing about Vegeta is like, you can just tickle him for a really long time and he'd be like, no, stop it, I'm going to throw up. But the thing is, like, he's not going to throw up because he's so powerful.
Yes.
He's a little guy you can tickle forever.
What's funny too is that like all the Namekians come back and they're trying to figure out like what the fuck even happened to them.
Here's the guy that killed everyone who's still dead.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is half of our planet.
Well, and everyone's like, well, where's everybody else? And Vegeta's like, well, I guess I killed them. Right.
And they're all
then
like,
he does another
wow.
one of those laughs.
They're all just staring at him like, wow, you jerk.
Yeah.
And they're back on Earth. They've kind of landed in like an indeterminate spot, but they're not that far away from like a town. You can kind of see it on the horizon.
Yeah.
They're not going anywhere. They're like, you know what? It's a nice day. Let's just sit on the grass.
Yeah, they're not going to get
Let's
anything
just
else
have Vegeta
done.
have his. They don't tell him to fuck off. They don't run away from him. They're just like, we're gonna let him pick his grass. It's fine.
Frankly, there would be no point. He'll find you.
What, is there anything else that we really need to know about Vegeta?
About Vegeta, I feel like we've explained it. He's like the SS captain of Frieza's force. He's a bad space alien, and now he's on Earth and he's single, ladies.
He's also a Saiyan, like Goku.
He's a prince.
He's got an incredible body. Also, he was the prince of the destroyed planet, which was destroyed by Frieza. More lore.
Right.
Frieza secretly destroyed their home planet, and then the foreign Saiyans, the ones who were off planet, just become her thralls or his thralls by due process there.
Right.
But one thing I think that is worth expounding on here in this the brief wish explanation that we've been doing is the reason why everyone but Goku and Frieza are on Earth, but they are still there, is Goku made a special exception that he fought tooth and nail for, which is leave me and Frieza here.
Right.
I know you could have me back, but I'm not done fighting yet. Because all I care about is fighting. That's the only thing that matters to me.
Yeah. There's a point where Frieza stands there again, and there's a lot of standing, but Frieza's standing there just to get more final formed than he already was to become Swole Frieza. And I forget who it is. Whoever's around is like, go
Stop
ahead,
him.
kill him.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I need him to become the most powerful being possible. That way the fight is more cool.
Right.
Well, it's more so that like he can actually humiliate him and be like, he needs to be at full power so I can show him that I can beat him in
really
that form.
humiliating? Being dead.
Yeah.
He could just kill him right now.
But he doesn't want to kill him, and that's like the big
tried to kill him earlier.
The thing, this is an important point that I wanted to make. Goku is not just extremely cool, he's also extremely honorable. He has a sense of honor and duty, and that sense of honor requires him to see his opposition be at his fullest possible strength. Otherwise, it's not a fair fight. And that would go against the rules of honor.
What's interesting about Goku, though, is the honor only extends to fighting, because he is supposed to be Sun Wukong, the monkey king god of fighting from Journey to the West or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he's put in a lot of morally dubious situations where a mass murderer is about to win. And he's like, let's see what happens. I think I got it.
If you want to look at this as like a trolley problem, you know?
Yeah.
It's like on the one track is let nothing happen and like 10 million Namekians get destroyed. And then on the other track is you have to, kill Frieza.
Yeah.
He chooses to allow Frieza to keep living.
There is also a good reason for Goku to stay, which is that Frieza can breathe in space.
Yeah,
right.
Frieza is biologically a water bear, and so he is just allowed to float around.
Okay,
tardigrade.
Hold on, I'm so sorry. A water bear?
Do you know about
Tardigrade.
or tardigrade?
No.
Gonna need a little more
They're
here. This
little guys.
They're microscopic dudes.
Okay.
We have
Okay.
sent them into space, and they've come back, and they're fine.
They're real.
These
You
are
can
real
put 'em
things.
out
They
there.
don't.
Okay.
They don't really look like bears.
They look more like ticks or something. Honestly,
I genuinely thought for a minute that that's what Toriyama thought a water bear would look like. Is Frieza?
They're kind of like if a manatee has like 100 legs.
Oh, I'm looking at a couple pictures. They're kind of cute in a really weird way. They're just little guys.
Oh yeah, they got little eyes.
Yeah, they're
they kinda look like Guru.
microscopic too. Is I think how they
yeah,
get
you're
away
right.
with it.
Yeah, they're very, very, very small. But Frieza can do that at full size, I guess.
They can't keep getting away with it.
And so, yeah, of course, he has to kill Frieza here because if he doesn't, Frieza will find him, track him down, and kill countless other planets.
Yeah.
So it's more about a containment thing.
He
And
can't
I think
kill
Gohan
everyone on
brings that up
Earth because he
too.
doesn't have a lease. But yeah.
I mean, he could get one.
He could get the deed to Earth.
Most importantly, if he does not let Frieza power up to strong SpongeBob style Frieza, he will not give us the amazing scene of an extended face slap that we get. Where Goku, with like
God, it's so good.
a machine drum sound backing it, just slaps him left and right for 30 full seconds in the face.
And Frieza gets this awooga look on his face.
Yeah.
There's a couple of moments. I want to just say the animation in this is like, yes, they reuse a lot of cells and things like that, but there is something like so like visceral about seeing Frieza like go full Looney Tunes in this. And as the fight wears on, how he starts to become more manic and like monstrous as opposed to this very controlled, very sleek design that we've seen this whole time. He becomes this like gargantuan barbarian.
Yeah, the like Toriyama school of like final forms is that you start with a kind of fucked up like ugly guy, and then he becomes a bigger fucked up ugly guy, and then he becomes a guy with like a human face.
Actually, roguishly handsome.
Yeah, and he becomes like
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
smoother and more streamlined overall. And then it's like, oh, that's the final form. And then there's like a secret half final form that he gets into right after that, where he gets a little uglier.
Goku and Frieza at this point are fighting so fast on Namek that you can't even see them.
Yeah.
That's how fast they are.
There were some budgetary issues on this episode. They set this up earlier too, which also I guess is supposed to explain the 5 minutes where they're not dialogue throughout those episodes. Earlier on, when Goku starts fighting Frieza, he's like just come back to life and everything. They're like, wow, they're fighting so fast that if you were to really see them fight, it would be like watching them in slow motion.
What?
So whenever you see them fight, you are seeing like they've overcranked the animation.
This is how they're explaining the 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Is they're actually doing it so fast.
I get it.
It still does
They're
not
talking
make
really
sense.
fast too.
Because they say stuff while they do it.
That's why Vegeta laughs for 30 seconds. It's actually 2 seconds.
It's just
It's actually him just going, ha!
Yeah, right.
I really love that when they're teleporting around, like Frieza's like actively running away from Goku. There's just a point where Goku appears upside down, like on top of Frieza.
Yeah.
This show allows for silliness in a way that I think is very, very fun.
If you've ever wanted a sequence where Bugs Bunny just beats the shit out of Elmer Fudd, and he elbows Elmer Fudd in the head and his skull has a dent in it and goo shoots out of his eyes.
If you ever wanted to see a bisected Elmer Fudd.
So the other big thing here is that Guru, the aforementioned head Namekian, he is actually now no longer able to sense what's going on Namek. So at this point, Goku and Frieza are effectively on their own. And guess what? There's only 1 minute left.
Oh my God.
Geez.
Yeah.
6 more episodes.
No, at this point, there's actually 3 more episodes.
Oh, for God's sake.
But even then, no, it's actually 4 more
Damn it, you're
episodes
right.
because the episode where the planet explodes is the next one after the one we watched.
Anyway, we talked a little bit about Vegeta's backstory and the fact that he, was conducting a genocide on behalf of Frieza.
He conducted a genocide and then he got microaggressioned back at work, and that is his entire origin
He was passed
story.
over for promotion.
Bulma does a fortune telling. The fortune telling comes back negative, but that's okay. It'll all be fine. Frieza gets some good hits in, but then, all of a sudden, Frieza can't keep up anymore.
They just announced this, by the way. There's nothing in the fight that leads to this. Goku's just like, you're washed, Frieza.
I drained you of your batteries.
Frieza, you're cringe.
All of a sudden, Goku is able to kick Frieza's ass with relative ease.
It would be meaningless to fight you now. You're too scared and ashamed. Live with the shock. Keep it bottled up inside you, silently.
I don't know why he said that. I don't know why he said it.
It's a very Catholic show.
It's a very Japanese thing. Please be quiet as well.
In addition,
Goodbye, Frieza. Never do mischief again. May you live the rest of your life in peace.
Peace? Nonsense!
Goku literally broke one guy's back and left him to die before.
Yeah, but for some reason, he doesn't just leave Frieza to die in this situation. Nor
does he kill him. Even though the whole point was it's going to be a real fight to the death. And he's like, nah, I'm too good for this.
I love this guy. His tail is a
crazy
penis.
guy. We had some good times, didn't we? Remember
Instead Goku, he de-Saiyans, right? His hair becomes black again, and he just kind of starts walking away.
Yeah.
He doesn't do this, but it does look like he sneezes, and then it's just gone. He kind of does a little head nod, and all of a sudden he's back. I'm like, you just turned Super Saiyan for the first time, and already you're like, oh yeah, it's gone.
Yeah, I'll turn that off for now.
Yeah.
He's not dead yet.
He transfers some of his power over to Frieza. He's like, even that's not good enough. I'm gonna make it so you can move around a little bit. The half of your
I want
body.
to make
that
sure
remains.
you survive in space
Yes.
for some reason.
The whole point of why I made them make the wish a specific way. And I'm just gonna leave you alive. Fuck
Again,
it.
You're a good guy.
This is why the character choice of making Goku a complete idiot is so funny.
And he is a complete idiot. You don't really see that when he's noble Goku making the fights and everything. But when you see him back at home with Chi-Chi and everything, it's I don't know anything. I don't know how to feed myself.
This stretch is the coolest Goku ever looks. He only looks worse from here.
Oh yeah. I mean, what happens is Goku walks away from Frieza is that Frieza sees an opportunity to, get his ass yet again.
Yeah.
He throws this razor blade frisbee at him. And this is I guess a homing frisbee?
A destructo disc of some kind.
Is this something that comes up before, or is this a brand new thing here?
Krillin has a move that's called the destructo disc. That's just like this, but yellow, but this one's purple.
Yeah.
And it's
stronger, I'd imagine.
So sad that Frieza's doing it. And it just shows how far he's fallen that he's
because Krillin's not at this point in the show. Krillin is he should not be on this planet.
Well,
he died twice.
Well, he's not anymore.
He's not. He got exploded.
There's so many little pieces.
He can't fight.
He can only win fights with beams that are sharp because he can't do them with beams that are good. So it just has to cut you when it hits you.
I love the way that these energy beams are animated because they just look like evil balloons. Because when Frieza's pushing it back, it caves in on itself a little bit and then overwhelms him.
It's sort of like a little pizza pie that he's tossing up into the air.
By the way, the next episode, right after that happens, the title card comes up and the title card says, Frieza defeated. You kind of gave the game away there a little bit, at the beginning.
You're wondering, is he?
Well, here's the thing,
he's not
though.
dead.
I kind of love that.
Yeah.
I kind of love that they give up the ghost because then the question is will this happen? It's no. It allows your mind to focus on other things in the episode. And it was at this point in our 11 episode binge that I started losing my mind a little bit. But I actually found the actual destruction of the planet of Namek to be beautiful.
Oh, it looks amazing. Now, once everything starts really falling apart and it's all lightning and thunder and shit. Yeah.
This thing becomes less a children's television show and more of just like a tone poem in like the best way possible. Like you feel the agony of it. And like even Frieza's argument that like, oh, you think I'm so bad? Your people destroyed. How many people did your people destroy? I merely, we are the same, you and I, right? But he actually has a point because the Saiyans also committed genocide.
You're a gentrifier.
Just like me. And it's Goku casting off being a gentrifier.
Also, if I remember correctly from the movie that finally goes into like Goku's origin story where it's just Superman, the Saiyans aren't really that bad. Like there are bad Saiyans, but there are like plenty more good ones.
I think that I think they're still bad. I think they're still bad.
I might be misremembering. It was many
correctly,
years.
They're still bad. They have like it's this kind of like Spartan kind of society thing where they get along with each other fine, but then they go conquer other places. But I don't know how much of that is on Frieza's behest, because they're in a corporate
it seems
agreement.
like they're just kind of into it, and part of why Frieza wipes them out is because maybe they're posing a threat to him, perhaps?
That is, so in the movie, the Bardock movie, which is about Goku's father, who looks just like a Goku.
I'm shocked.
It's explained that Frieza hears the rumor of a Super Saiyan and is like, I will have none of that, please. Let's get rid of all of them. And then just throws a big beam at it from space and laughs a lot. And then Goku's dad punches him in the head or something. And that's supposed to be very valiant of him. That's his last big win.
Yeah, well, I mean, bonking him on the head does work. Like, we do see it, like, become effective. But, like, once you know that Frieza is defeated, then it becomes, okay, so how? Yeah. How is Frieza defeated, right? And Frieza even mocks you for thinking that the thing that's going to happen is going to happen. He's like, oh, you're going to fly at me and it's just going to hit my own attack will hit me, you dumbass. That'll never happen.
Yeah.
And it doesn't twice and then does.
The
and
third
that's
time.
So satisfying.
Although it's worth noting, it's not actually because Goku flies down at him at his face. The blade comes at him from behind. And Goku's like, look out!
Yeah,
Goku tries to stop
look
happening.
out behind you.
Goku's been beating the tar out of this man for the last 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And then he sees a real danger and goes, wait, stop! It doesn't work and he gets cut into 5 pieces.
It's very unclear where that blade comes from.
There's flying
My
around.
thought was just like that one made it all the way around Namek. Like,
it did a full orbit.
That's why Goku wasn't ready for it. Frieza wasn't ready for it. It's just like, oh shit.
You just see the spinning blade and there's a little thought bubble that says, oh, the glorious destruction of nature as it circles the entire planet.
This is why it's so good that it's slow, though, because they speed this one up in Dragon Ball Z Kai. It's much less satisfying. The back and forth of him saying over and over again, I'm not going to cut myself. I'm not going to cut myself.
Yeah.
Then Goku stopping and just like elbowing him in the neck for a while where he's like, ow, I've totally forgotten about the beams.
Yeah, you kidney punches him too, right?
It's so good when the beams come back.
Also, what happens with him getting like cut in half? It's not gory exactly, but it certainly isn't G-rated.
Well, it's not
I would
clean.
say.
Yeah.
The cut isn't clean.
Yeah.
Right? It's not just like right down the middle, arms up. It's like one of his arms goes and also his torso and I think his leg.
It kind of
half a leg.
It reminded me of a fatality from Mortal Kombat, honestly.
It's, I mean, the point where Frieza, like the battle really turns and Frieza gets sucker punched in the stomach and coughs up blood.
I thought that was like, so funny.
So sick, dude.
But it's so cool, right?
Yeah.
It's like I felt myself being like a 10-year-old again, being like, oh shit, like, I shouldn't be watching this.
Yeah, this was like the edgiest shit I had ever seen in my entire life.
Oh, absolutely. I understood the appeal.
Still. Oh, wow. I do not watch violent entertainment.
Right.
It's never topped that.
So at this point, were we just all like hooting and hollering, basically?
I was like, oh God, we still have more episodes.
When I sent you the episodes at first, I said, where is he cut in half by the discs? And I looked at the descriptions, I'm like, he's still around for a while. I can't end it there because he's not dead yet.
Right, we have to see him go.
And we do indeed get that in this 11th episode, which is the last one that we all watched together, because Frieza is still alive because even after getting fucking sawed the hell up, Goku's like,
I'll give you a little bit of my energy. And he does exactly that.
I think he says please.
Yes, he begs him. He begs him.
And what I will say is about the vocal performance of Frieza here. It's the first time you've heard Frieza sound pitiful.
Yes.
And it was actually convincing enough to me to be like, oh man, I know that guy's committed so many genocides, but like, I mean,
he's so smooth.
He's so smooth.
He's such a small bean.
He's purple. He's white.
Come on.
By the way,
some points he's pink.
You mentioned purple guys. There, at one point, there was a guy. It was like new guy just dropped moment where there was this guy who was purple and walking on all fours, and he was in there for a hot second, and then we did not see him again.
That's
Who was
connected.
That guy?
That's connected
It's
to
the
Bulma.
frog thing again.
Yeah, so
that's the frog guy.
The frog is him, and he's the frog.
They
It's
Freaky
connected
Friday'd.
They
Same
sort
as
of
Bulma.
they sort of double Freaky Friday'd.
I'll send you another 30 episodes.
Great, okay.
The frog is the purple guy. Yeah, there was a point where we get to cut away to the Frieza Force, which even for me as a kid, I was like, I don't know who the fuck these guys are, because I started when Vegeta turned, and it's just like, here's this building full of a bunch of guys with guns, and then Goku's power level got so big that their computer killed all of them by exploding.
It caused great political instability in the Frieza ranks as well.
A power vacuum was created.
The only other really like important, I guess, plot stuff here is that Guru has decided that it is a nice day to die, and he just kind of like he just kind of dissolves, I guess.
It's so funny that they brought him back from the dead. He was like, "No,
nah, I'm good.
I'm 5,000 years old.
Let me go." The Namek Dragon Balls land on Earth, and he's like, "Great," but before when he died, they went away.
Yeah.
So now it's like, what happens?
They give him the Dende. They give him the Dende. It's in the show.
Oh, okay. I was not following.
Yeah, they make a new Namek and they bring everybody back to life. It's a whole.
I thought they all stayed on Earth. Okay.
They gapped the climax a few times in a way where you watch it and you're like, you can do that. Why are you making me watch all this stuff?
Yeah.
But basically, the big takeaway is that Frieza is a huge fucking bitch. Like he just can't.
He's a piece of shit.
He can't lose. Sucks, dude.
So this entire episode, Goku's just like walking, and Frieza's half body is just floating and following him around, being like, "You're a little twat, Goku. Fuck you. I killed your dad."
And again, the only reason that he's even able to do that, to like fucking float behind Goku, is that Goku gave him energy.
This whole episode is pretty much just flashbacks.
Yes.
It's Frieza being like, "I fucked your mom." And then it's like showing Frieza fucking Goku's mom.
But that's kind of the point, right? Again, we are at the end of an epic arc, and now we are seeing everything that got us to this point.
It's not actually the end is the thing. There's 2 more episodes in the arc. And I'm just like, I'm writing in all caps in my notes. I'm like, we flashed back to the fucking spirit bomb. They want you to know how much they pissed you off before. And I said, now we flashed back to the previous episode.
And then, as we said before, later it turns out Frieza is still not dead.
Right.
Yes. Because they scoop up his entrails in space and put him in a cyborg suit.
But here's what is cool. Here's what is cool. The moment when Goku does like deflect Frieza's big ass beam and like shoot it back at Frieza, the pencil work here, I just noticed that there's artistic moments here and there in the way that like the disintegrating Frieza is depicted is just so fucking cool.
Digimon used to do this same thing where everyone just turns into a bunch of individual little lines that then sort of just splinter off.
It's very goated of them.
Agreed.
To do it.
Yeah, he looks like a cartoon, right? And this has been a figure that has destroyed so many countless civilizations, and is a genocidal space racist.
He's very racist to the Saiyans. He's very unfair to them.
Very unkind. Very unkind to them.
He calls them monkeys.
He does. At every chance he can get.
When the moon is out,
that
is what they are.
They literally become them. But still,
but to see him revealed in his quote unquote final moments as just the garish, buffoonish cartoon that he is, I think is a very cool artistic choice.
Yeah.
To be clear, the plot on this is he's floating around as a nasty little half body, and Goku goes to float away, and then Frieza takes a pot shot at him. He doesn't think he'll see. And Goku gets so pissed off, he wipes his like atoms off of the planet.
He's like, "You fool, Frieza!"
And he calls him a damn fool while he does it.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Act like you've been there before, Frieza. Show some class.
Yeah. So what happens after what we watched is Goku gets to the ship. It's like, aha, they didn't leave in the ship. They got teleported away. He can get in the ship. The ship is like falling into the core as the planet's about to explode. You see the planet explode. Then in the next episode, it's a year later, the dragons can be awakened once more. They're doing a lot of complex, like, oh, move Krillin over here. That way you can technically bring him back to life without bringing him back to life a second time.
More Talmudic law.
Yeah. Also do this to Goku. And then the dragon's like, okay, it's done. I didn't do it to Goku. And they're like, why? He's like, he's not dead.
He's learning, he's thriving.
And they're like, why? And he's just like, oh, he doesn't want to come back, though. Because they can't even wish him back to the planet because he doesn't want to come.
Yeah. So he doesn't come back for a very long time. Garlic Jr. shows up again. They do a little fight. Then when Cyborg Frieza shows up, Trunks comes from the future and fights. And then Goku shows up like at the end of the fight. And then Trunks is like, here's all the things that are going on. By the way, I am the son of Vegeta and Bulma.
I came from the future. You die of COVID-19.
Yes.
I have medicine for that.
You die of the virus that killed Dr. Atkins.
I have horse dewormer. It works on Saiyans.
Just Goku getting really big into the ivermectin game. So this is we find ourselves at the end of this arc now. We've been talking about Dragon Ball Z for a bit.
Yeah.
First of all, I guess, Alex, having now gone through this arc.
Once more
into the breach. Where are you at? What did you get out of the show this time around? Did it bring back fond memories? Did it torture your brain somewhere between the two?
I'll tell you this. I love Big Goku. He's so strong.
He's so strong.
And he's so noble as well.
Yeah.
And brave.
Yes.
But I love him. I love Goku.
I do have a genuine question about that, though. Like, because, yes, Goku is, for so many kids, like...
And adults.
Thanks, Brian. Yes. Just an iconic hero. What is it that makes Goku, like, just such a consistently relevant and interesting and exciting character? Like, why do people fucking love him so much?
I think Goku is an interesting, like, kind of character study of, people that children and adults look up to, because I think the reason everyone likes him is not because of anything he does. It's because of how he looks and his aesthetics. It's that he's just a cool ass dude.
Yeah.
He eats the most. He's the strongest. He shoots beams. He flies around. Later in space, he discovers he can teleport if he touches his forehead. It breaks all of the story in the entire show. He's just the man. He's abstract. He's kind of like what Mr. Beast is trying to be. It's like if we remove all aspects of personality from this really interesting figure you see all the time, it will mean more to you because you'll fill in what you're missing from your life.
The gaps.
And that's what's caused so much body dysmorphia in young men around the world.
They're all trying to look like Goku.
Alex, I have a question for you. It turns out we have the same alma mater. You graduated a year after I did.
Oh, really?
At NYU. You did a dramatic writing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And my question is, you are a writer. You have written radio dramas. You are a stand-up, and obviously DBZ was a big influence on you as a kid. So my question is, how has DBZ like influenced your writing, if at all?
When I went to NYU, I wrote pretty much exclusively anime parodies, and I would do like live,
really?
Yeah, I would do
shit.
I would do like live action shit that was just like anime style, and I thought this was very original. And I think in the 15 years that have passed since I've done that, it's actually been like done to death since then. So like it's not as exciting anymore. But I thought it was like the best kind of TV there was. Like I think like I was saying earlier, I think it's just like this inspired me to think about the world the way that like ancient people thought about like epics. Like and that's because it's illogical and just is very cool. And that's what you like about it. And it has more staying power than, let's say, like a very cerebral X-Men plot did for me.
Sure. Well, and it's been kind of fun, too, for me getting into this for the very, very first time. I wasn't able to watch all of the episodes back to back to back to back to back. I had to, it's just not designed for that. It's designed to be a show that you come back to on a recurring schedule. What I found was that the more that I tried, including during this recording, to like put rules and structure around it, the more I felt my brain breaking. You just have to go along with the vibes. And if it's a vibe, that's right, Brian.
Goku along with
and if it's a vibe that you feel aligned with, you're gonna have a good time with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, stop making rules. They kill him with a gun.
Yeah.
just have fun while you're out there.
But I mean, that is what made it frustrating for me later on. Is like they're just shuffling the cards around. Like they can just do whatever. So like there's never, instead of making a problem and writing their way out of it, they just write the problem away. But that doesn't happen earlier on in the series.
No.
Right? You like if you watch Dragon Ball or early Dragon Ball Z up until basically the Frieza Saga, like they're always, the stakes feel very real. The tension feels very real. Sometimes they can get that back.
Yeah.
But like, I think this taught me as a storyteller in some ways, like at some point you just got to hit the wall. You just can't just keep making everyone more powerful every time. You have to find a different way to make the stakes.
It's probably the
into
best
something.
example of like the warning of power creep that exists in media, I think. Because by the end, it's just nonsense.
Yeah. And a lot of like Western like comics and stuff, they don't necessarily get as far into the power creep. They just are like, well, we don't want to do power creep, so now we're going to introduce time travel and alternate universes.
Yep.
And Charles Xavier is just going to get killed in the past. And it's like, well, then what the fuck was any of this? So power creep is still better than that, I think.
Yeah. And it's because it removes like the brain from the equation.
Yeah.
It's all body watching this
It's
show.
pure cool.
Yeah. Which I think is worth explaining to Josh. Like, I'm sorry, but you cannot enjoy this show to the fullest because you have to be like 5 years old.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
The amount I used to just sit and think about what happened on Dragon Ball Z for
Oh
hours.
my God. No, all the time. That was the whole that's the thing about having an episode where nothing happens is you go to school and you're talking to your friends and you're like, man, but like, what is a Saiyan really like? Man? What's like,
you build out the world in your head.
And you have like your friend who like has seen a couple more episodes than you have, or like someone who has the movie and it's like, yeah, you can see Goku's penis in the movie or whatever. And it's like, wait, he's a monkey at some point? No way. Like
his penis doesn't change though. That stays the same.
It's a regular human penis.
He loses the penis. You never see it. It would be too jarring.
And it's fun too to just have a show that captures what it feels like to be a kid. We talked about that as well. The fact that time doesn't really mean anything. The fact that you keep getting bigger and cooler, and that cooler is usually stupider, but that's kind of the point. I will agree, like, if I only could have watched this when I was 5, I think I would have had even more fun. But I also don't think that I could have talked about it on a podcast when I was 5. So, you know.
What's the point?
Swings and roundabouts, right? Yeah.
The only point to consume is to produce podcasts.
I don't know how I'm making money from this.
What does this do for my bottom line?
That's right, Brian.
I got a lot of Metabots knowledge going to waste here.
Well, Alex, I guess this is as good a time as any to say thank you so much for coming on our show. This was really a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And if the good folks who listen to our show would like to find you as well, what should they do?
Go to the Quorators YouTube channel. That's Quora plus TORS, Quorators. It's a comedy talk show where we read Quora, and that's the whole thing. We also have a live show August 24th. If you live in New York, you want to come to the live show at Caveat Bar and Grill and Lounge. And
so
theater.
if you couldn't make it to our live show at the beginning of August in Colorado Springs, you can make it to the Quorators live show in New York.
Do both. Do both.
Do both. Please do both.
No, go to
We'll offer you a package, no discount, but if you buy both, we'll say, hey, that's a package.
Tell the airline what you're doing. See if they'll cut you some slack.
In exhaustive detail.
Keep calling the stewardess.
Caveat for what it's worth, that is the same venue where we did our New York City live show. So if you went to our show, well, you can go back to the same venue. You'll have a great time. I mean, I've really been enjoying Quorators. Just like as somebody who
it hurts
for some reason
sometimes.
ends up on that website all the fucking time because of how good their SEO is. It is just a collection. That website is a collection of some of the most incredible minds ever assembled into one place.
Yeah.
And your show does a phenomenal job of unpacking what their minds are.
I will say after like 6 years of trying to explain the events of Dragon Ball Z, I still feel like more pain trying to explain Quora to an uninitiated person everywhere.
So yes, check out Quorators, check out their live show, check out our live show. As Brian was saying, we'll be in Colorado Springs. Do we have anything else that we need to talk about? Oh wait, Patreon.
Right? Patreon?
Yeah, we
Yes.
have one of those.
We sure do.
That's right. It is patreon.com/worstofall. $5 a month gets you access to bonus episodes every other week. And then $10 gets you access to Lads Cast, which is our monthly show where we just kind of shoot the shit about whatever's on our mind. So go check that out as well.
So Akira Toriyama died this year on March 1st. He had a brain bleed and was gone pretty instantly. It was very shocking. He was only 68 years old. The extraordinary amount of stress that these manga artists are put under to produce something every day, and the fact that Toriyama remained throughout his life just so optimistic and so cheerful and so much like Goku. When he died, he was planning on coming back from a hiatus because he wanted to draw again. He was going to give us more to see, and the fact that we'll never see another Toriyama piece kind of breaks my heart, because it's the kind of stuff that I could, ingest forever, and I would never be full. I'm the worst of all possible AJs.
I'm the worst of all possible Brians.
And I'm the worst of all possible Joshes. See you next week.